Well, hello there. It's Yvonne from Women's Fitness Adventures. How are you? And I hope that you are doing well for the start of the year. So a little bit of a rush this evening, but I have so much that I want to share with you and talk about for this coming year. So we're back. We're back for the year, and I'm going to start in a slightly different place today. A new year, a new focus, a new us, still the same, but slightly different tweak. And it's been a while. It's been a couple of weeks now. It's been maybe 5 weeks since I've been here with you live. And over that time, I really did take a break. I needed to just reground myself. I needed to really think about what was important, what mattered, and just really take some time to replenish my soul and, build that strength back. And I know that I'm not alone. I know there are so many women out there, so many people, but in particular, so many women who are feeling just this load of everything going on around them. And how do we get through that? Because let's face it, life is moving faster. Every year that rolls around is also another challenging year. So, as I said, I'm going to start with something different, not with what's coming up or what you should do or even where we're going this year, but with something that I've been noticing a lot, over the past 12 months, but really had time over the break to think about it. So hello, who is watching live? Hello, Ellen. Hello, Meg. Happy New Year. Hello, Patricia. And hello, Kerry as well from all over Australia. Lovely to have you here live. And this is a two-way. So if you do have something you want to share or contribute, please go ahead and do so, because we know as women, all people, but as women, the more we talk about something, the more it becomes normalized, and realize that we're not the only ones continuing or bearing the load or whatever it might be, walking through this journey. We know that we're not alone. So over the break, as I said, I took a really deep break. I literally buried my head in the sand. I was at the beach and I just buried my head in the sand. I didn't watch TV. I didn't watch the news. We might have had the cricket on, but I didn't. I intentionally stayed away from social media. I really wanted to, turned emails off. I really wanted to just think, come back to self, to nourish. And I have been, as I said, paying attention to women over the past, decade of, or 12 years of Women's Fitness Adventures, but certainly over, the past year, I've been listening a lot. I've been intent. You've seen me on the end of the phone, on the end of the emails. I'm really listening and paying attention to the women that I hear from the most. So they're the ones I get the emails from. They're the ones I get the messages from. You know who you are. They're the ones I have the conversations with. And it's not proximity related. You know who you are, where you're in regular contact with us. And it's not that you want more motivation. Motivation it will come and go. It's something that needs to come from within us. It's that we really, me included, we just want to trust our own judgment again. And I think that that's really important. So we don't want to be told what to do. And there's so much information out there telling us what we should and shouldn't be doing. And we don't want to be pushed, and we don't necessarily need to be convinced either, because we all have strong, independent minds. We just want to really feel steady with the decisions that we're making, and the decisions that we're making in a world where everything is literally being thrown at us. And I certainly feel that, a lot of the time, every decision, everything that happens in life is a sort of a test of how perhaps I'll react to a social media post, perhaps how I'll react to something in the news or not react, to whether I respond to a text straight away or not. Everything appears to just be, out there testing our judgment, or telling us what to do, what we should look like, what we shouldn't look like, what we should feel like, what we should, in this stage of life, what we should do, what we should put in our mouth. Just stop. I don't want to be told what to do. I know what to do. I just want the space, and I just want to trust my own judgment. So it made me realize something that really important about what we do and why we do it here at Women's Fitness Adventures. Because Women's Fitness Adventures, as I said, we're 12 years old this year. It's a place where we as women, we practice making decisions about our bodies, about our pace, about our limits, about our capacity, and really learning to trust ourselves again in a really safe and supportive environment. And that is pretty profound, because in a world where, right now everything is a test, everything's angry and underlying and anxious, this place where we can really use a supportive playground to really test ourselves and back ourselves and trust ourselves and build that confidence. So it's a really important space. And confidence, we all think, oh, if I get out on the trails, I'll build the confidence I need. But confidence doesn't arrive first up. Confidence follows experience. The more we do something, the more we get comfortable with it, the more confident we are to do it again. And I often talk about confidence and self-belief and how high-profile athletes use those two elements. And, we should have the confidence because we've done it before that we will do it again, but we have to have the self-belief. And if we don't have that self-belief, even though we should have built that confidence and flexed that, the trail muscles, and that's something where, inside Women's Fitness Adventures, with the support of all of our members and every woman that comes, to our online or in-person space, is we're giving every one of us, in some ways, giving another the opportunity to start to flex that confidence muscle. So hello, Lynn. Hello, Kathleen. Happy New Year. Hello, Leonie. Hello, Barbara. And hello, Marie. Nice to see all of you here. So this year, I'm not here to motivate you. You can do that yourself. You know what motivates you. But we're here this year to support you to choose well on your hiking endeavors and to stand by those choices. So tonight isn't about setting goals, and it's not about making any promises. It's about checking in with ourselves and asking, what would choosing well look like for me right now? And then letting that be enough. And we know deep down inside, but sometimes we need a catalyst. Sometimes we need an event. Sometimes we need a word. Sometimes we need a nudge or a visual of someone else doing something to know what we don't want to do as well. So as I said, tonight is not about setting goals or making any promises. It's about checking in with ourselves and asking, what would choosing well look like for me right now? And then letting that be enough. Now, for all of us who are hikers, choosing well would be choosing a hike, or choosing well would be perhaps not choosing to hike because we know and understand our bodies at any point in time. But having the confidence in ourselves to support the choices that you make. And that's what we're here for, is the confidence or to support you in the choices that you make in your hiking, and then give you all the tools that you need to succeed in that area. But I also reflected over the past 12 months and there's been some things in the news about, women running away from their life and their family to start again in different locations and stuff like that. I think in some ways we as women can be a little bit stuck. Not all of us. Some of us are action takers. Some of us move forward. Certainly, women in my world, a lot of you are in that world, that we may have been stuck once, but we know that the wheels might be turning in the background, or we know the place that we want to get to. But, some women get stuck because they don't trust the decisions that they're about to make. Now, it would be wonderful if we had all the answers to everything and we knew what, was going to unfold tomorrow. But the reality is we can make all the plans in the world, but we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And we get stuck because there is so much information out there. And I don't know about you, and if you've got comments, please share. I don't know about you, but I actually don't know what's real anymore. I look at my Instagram feed. The way it feeds stuff up to me now is if I'm looking at it and I like I'm just hovering over a picture, it thinks I'm really interested in that thing. And all I'm trying to do is work out, is that picture real or not? But it thinks that I'm interested in that. And then it starts to feed more and more of that stuff into my feed. So I don't even know what's real anymore. I have tried to switch off all the menopause things because it's telling me to do this and to do that and to do that and to, stand upside down on my head and walk 20 kilometers doing that, joking. But, there is just so much information that I don't even know what's real. And feeling, I think as women, everyone in general now, but what I sense is there's this pressure and there's this overwhelm, and there's just so much that I can't make a choice. And there's a lot of research out there about, the more choices we have, the less likely it is that we'll actually make a choice. It becomes this overwhelm. And then we worry about perhaps I'll get that wrong as well. Or what if I book on a hike and I choose the wrong thing? Or what if I book on a hike and, I've miscalculated my fitness and I'm wrong and I can't do it. And, and then we start to doubt those decisions. So we're here this year to support you in the choices that you make, and that you choose well in those choices as well, because you have the motivation and you have the confidence, you have the skills, or you can get those skills. It's having the confidence to choose well and then sticking by that decision. But we can also, that fear of being wrong is really high. And, trying something new for the first time. And this year I turned 60, and I did it the year I turned 50, is my 60 new things for my 60th year. And I've done one so far, so I'm a couple of weeks behind, but that's okay. I will catch up. But, my girlfriend and I've spoken about this before, have this saying, when was the last time you did something for the first time? Because we're always telling young kids, little kids, just give it a try. It doesn't matter if you fall over. It doesn't matter if you fail. But I think somewhere along the way, as we get older and as we get more responsibility as women, and we nurture and we love and we care, and, we have all this stuff, we wear the multitude of hats, is that we don't follow our own advice. We stop trying new things because we fear we might be wrong, or we might fail, or we might be last, or we might be this, or we might be that, or we just feel the overwhelm that we just get stuck. And then when we're getting stuck and we're not making decisions, we lose confidence in our decision-making ability as well. So we talk about confidence as something that we need before we act. And I spoke about that athletes and their confidence and self-belief, and, high profile athletes. One of my colleagues, her husband is does a lot of work with high profile athletes, and it's from his podcast, this one about self-belief and confidence, that even those athletes who we would think, not being athletes ourselves, would have such confidence. We're talking, high-level Olympic team sports. We're talking high-level Olympic runners, world championship swimmers, all that level. It's this confidence and self-belief. But confidence isn't something we have before we act. Confidence is something that comes because we act. And the more we flex that muscle, the better we get at believing in ourselves that we can do things. And then we start to make better choices and having confidence in those choices as well. So confidence is repeated through self-trust, just trusting ourselves. If we knew we couldn't fail, what would we do? And that is what self-trust is. But with somewhere we get lost. On the trail, so we bring it back to hiking, confidence doesn't come from knowing the whole route. Confidence comes because we know there's a start and an end point. We've done our research. We know about safety, but we don't have to have done it before to actually feel confident to do it. So we say this for our multi-day hikers, or for anyone taking on a multi-day hike and doing the training, is you don't have to replicate the hike before you do the hike. You just need to be strong enough in the training to do the things that you need to do that will be required of you on the hike. So think about that. On the trail, the confidence doesn't come from knowing the whole route. Confidence comes from taking that next step, or from having done the training and trusting your judgment and knowing that your judgment holds. So have a think about that. That's the muscle that we're building here today, is that we're building the hiking muscle, the confidence muscle. And we're just using hiking as our as our conduit, I suppose, that, there's so much that we can, there's so many areas of that life, of that saying, that we can take into our life, but we're using hiking as our mechanism to build our confidence. And, many, many years ago, when and I'm sure I've shared this with you as well, when I was talking about, I was working from home, I had a very stressful corporate job, and I wanted to differentiate work and home, even though I was working from home. And so I started running, and, it was an extremely stressful job, no different to those of you who are working or in a stressful environment. And what I found was that the more confident I got in my running, the more confidence I could take over into the decisions that I was making in the other parts of my life. So it didn't mean the other parts of my life got easier. It just meant that I had flexed the confidence muscle in this part, which in our world is hiking, and that then transposed over. But knowing that I could choose well in my hiking, choose the right hike, have the right people around me to choose that right environment, that right hike, that right event, that would give me the confidence and then the self-belief to keep going. So, I think I received a couple of emails over the break and I had to say no to some wonderful, wonderful opportunities to go to some places that have been on my bucket list for a long, long time. And I just knew the timing wasn't going to work. And over the break, as I reflected about what's important about my word for the year, which is simplicity, and trying to keep things as simple as possible, I knew that I couldn't fit it all in. It would be squeezing it all in and not really appreciating each moment for what it was. So I said no to one experience. It will come again if it's meant to be. And, the reason I can say that is because I have the confidence that it will. I trusted myself to choose well, which is exactly what I'm sharing with you tonight. So I got a couple of other emails though, and I really, I had been thinking all these things over the break, and I thought, these emails, and I belong to some big adventure travel groups all over the world, and in terms of organizations, not Facebook groups, in terms of organizations. And all they were doing was selling me stuff. And I went, well, you're not actually putting yourself in the position of, Yvonne, come do this, and then you can promote that, and come do this. And I thought, well, you actually don't understand today's woman in her midlife. You don't understand all the things. She can see right through you. I can see right through you. I can see that, you're not the real deal. You don't understand me. You're talking at me. You're not talking to me. You're not understanding me where I am. You're not meeting me in my space and place in the world right now. And I might come into hiking and I might go out of hiking for different seasons and different reasons. But I know that if I choose well in my hikes, and when I choose to do them, that I will build the confidence and I will build the self-trust to continue then to make greater choices as I go. Hello, Vicky. Hello, Karen, and hello, Kim as well. Nice to have you back here too. So, as I've gone through the year, as I've gone, to the most frequent messages I get and emails and Facebook posts and conversations that I have, it is about confidence. It is about the questions that I get asked is, how can you help me choose well? What do I need? What questions do I ask? And knowing that when we give those answers, that you do choose well, you choose the hikes well. And, I had a couple of people even yesterday, asking me about different hikes and helping them choose well. So, we've never, we've created this space over the 12 years. Sorry, the sun's coming in. My office is a bit exposed. To give you the place to practice trusting yourself, to give you, sharing your wins in the Facebook group for our members, sharing your stories, asking those questions that we may not ask in any other place. Sometimes sometimes the space we give you is live training. Sometimes it looks like walking in your environment. Sometimes it's giving masterclasses and information and content to keep us safe or to save us money in terms of buying the right gear and equipment. Or sometimes it's giving you the tools to decide that this is okay now and that's not okay later, or this one's not right for me right now. But having the confidence to trust ourselves to do that as well. So, it's the year of the horse. So the year I was, my birth year is the year of the horse. And that means like taking charge and going forward. And, I think that, if we're all swirling around with, and some of you have hikes booked, multi-day hikes, and some of you are still thinking about it, and some of you are on pause with your multi-day hikes. But it doesn't mean that the space that you're in doesn't, the space that you're in, whatever that might be, the moment or the season, allows you to continue to develop skills. It allows you to continue to develop your fitness. Please, please, please focus on your fitness. It is so important. I listened to heaps of podcasts over the break, and, it's all about the thing for our future self. What can we do now? And digress a little, my exercise physiologist, and she, was talking about life in your 80s. And she said, what you really need to be doing, making sure that you're doing in, your 40s, 50s, 60s, or all your life, really, 70s, is strength training. If you're not strength training, it is just going to get so much harder. So, if we're not in the season of hiking in terms of multi-days of, traveling, but we're in the season of longevity and looking after ourselves as women, so we have the confidence and the self-trust in ourselves in the next few decades, then, that's the space we need to be in as well. So, as you perhaps reflect, and I'd love any comments, and hello, Donna, and hello, Sharon. And I'm getting the whole afternoon sun in my face. I moved my office around and I thought the light would work where it was, but it actually didn't. So, as you think about the year, if you want to have conversations about what works for me, what won't work for me, or that space to build your confidence muscle, jump into the Facebook group for members. If you're not a member and you're watching, reach out and talk to us, because our role is to support you to choose well in your hiking endeavors. Because when we get out on a multi-day hike, whether you're with us, one of our most amazing ones, or they're all amazing, or whether you're on your own, what shows up on the trail is not what shows up on the trail is a result of everything you've done to get there. It's the confidence, it's the training, it's the skill set, it's the knowledge, it's your behavior, it's all of those things. It's just an expression of what you've been building to. So, notice the next decision that wants your attention around your hiking, around your fitness, around your wellness. I really want us all to be well. I really want us to be strong. I really want us to protect and preserve our bones and our health and stay upright and get off the ground and all those things. And choose your next decision around hiking. Choose it from clarity of understanding who you are, trusting yourself, not from overwhelm, not from pressure, not from social media, not from what your friend is doing, but what's really going to work for you, what lights you up, what floats your boat, what will make you stronger, what will make you flex that confidence muscle, that self-trust muscle, that, thing called women's intuition that we all have deep down inside. So I really am getting slaughtered by the sun here, trust you to think about what your next decision is, because, I've been doing a lot of reflecting over the break. And, when you strip away all the distractions that are out there, I didn't realize how much I was checking emails and how much I was checking my social media feeds. And I don't want you to go off social media because you wouldn't find us. But, just check in on those things. Time is ticking. And, having spent a lot of time around family over Christmas and lots of special moments and playing, board games and things like that, is that, we want to choose our time really well. Just as we want to choose our hikes, we want to choose our time really well also. So that is it from me today. As I said, starting off 2026 in a different tune, but really that, we've built a space, all of us together inside our membership community, to really feel confident to play and learn and grow, where we trust our own judgments again, and judgments to make those decisions, and we express that judgment through hiking, which is just such a wonderful thing. I'm not here to convince you. I'm just here to support you. So that is it from me. I'll be back hopefully next week. It is Australia Day. Well, it is the public holiday next week, depending on your view of it. It is a public holiday next week, but I'm pretty sure I'll be here as we roll on through this wonderful year of the horse. We've shed last year, so we should all embrace what's going to come. Glad to have you back. And if you have any comments, please drop them below. See you next time. Bye.